Number. Faye Act 1. The situation Feifei Sarah Martinez had always believed that 23 years of friendship meant something. It meant late night phone calls when Jessica's mom was dying. It meant being each other's maid of honor. It meant sharing secrets that no one else would ever know. But standing in the shadows of Café Luna on a rainy Thursday afternoon, watching Jessica's husband Mark laugh intimately with a woman who definitely wasn't Jessica, Sarah realized that some knowledge comes with a price you never agreed to pay. Mark's hands slid across the small table, fingers interlacing with those of a stunning brunette Sarah had never seen before. The woman leaned forward, whispering something that made Mark's eyes crinkle the way they used to when he first started dating Jessica in college. The way they hadn't crinkled in years. Sarah's coffee grew cold in her hands as she watched Mark kiss this stranger with the kind of passion that belonged in the early days of love, not the comfortable middle of a 15-year marriage. The same marriage Jessica had been defending just last week. Mark's been so distant lately, Jessica had confided over their usual Tuesday dinner. But I think it is just work stress. He has been staying late so many nights. I keep telling myself we're just in a rough patch. Every marriage has them, right? Right. Sarah had nodded and squeezed her best friend's hand, offering the comfort that best friends provide. She had no idea that in 3 days she'd be standing 50 feet away from the real reason Mark was staying late. The couple at the table stood up, and Sarah instinctively ducked behind a parked car. She felt ridiculous. Faye, a 42-year old woman hiding like a teenager Faye, but she couldn't seem to move. Mark and the woman walked to his car, the same silver Honda Accord that Jessica had helped him pick out for his 40th birthday. The same car that had family vacation stickers on the back window and Emily's soccer gear in the trunk. Emily, Jessica, and Mark's 13-year-old daughter, who still thought her parents had the perfect marriage, who used their relationship as proof that true love exists in her English essays. As Mark opened the passenger door for his companion with a gentleness that made Sarah's stomach turn, she realized she was holding her breath. This wasn't a business meeting. This wasn't an innocent friendship. This was an affair full and complete, happening right in front of her. The Honda pulled away, leaving Sarah alone with the weight of what she'd witnessed. She stood there for 10 minutes, rain soaking through her jacket, trying to convince herself she'd seen something else. Anything else, but the image of Mark's hand on that woman's cheek, tender and guilty and completely devoted, wouldn't leave her mind. Number Faye Act 2, The Choice. Faye that night, Sarah sat in her apartment, staring at Jessica's contact photo on her phone. 23 years of friendship smiled back at her Faye, a picture from their last vacation together in Napa Valley. Arms around each other, Jessica glowing with the happiness of someone who believed her marriage was solid. Should she call? Should she wait? Should she pretend she never saw anything? Sarah's thumb hovered over Jessica's number for the 3rd time in an hour. Each time she started to dial, she stopped. Each time she decided to say nothing, guilt crashed over her like a wave. The next morning brought a text from Jessica. Girls' night Friday, I need to talk. Mark's been acting even weirder. Girls' night. Their sacred tradition where they shared everything Faye work drama, family gossip, relationship troubles, dreams, fears. The place where secrets went to die and friendship lived to fight another day. Friday evening arrived with the cruel timing that life specializes in. Jessica sat across from Sarah at their usual corner booth at Romano's, twirling her wedding ring the way she always did when she was anxious. I found a receipt in Mark's pocket, Jessica said quietly. Dinner for 2 at that new French place downtown, the expensive one. We haven't been out to dinner in months, and I was so confused. When I asked him about it, he said it was a client dinner, but she looked up with eyes that held just enough suspicion to break Sarah's heart. Do you think I am being paranoid? Sarah felt her throat close. This was it. This was the moment where she could end her best friend's marriage with 7 words. I saw Mark with another woman. Instead, she heard herself say, "What does your gut tell you?" "My gut says something's wrong, but my head says I am being crazy. We've been together 17 years, Sarah. He is the father of my child. He has never given me a reason not to trust him. Not once." Not once. The words hit Sarah like a slap. Because Mark had been careful, he'd been the perfect husband on the surface, keeping his affair invisible, letting Jessica doubt herself instead of facing the truth. "Maybe you should talk to him," Sarah suggested weakly. "I tried." He got defensive, said I was being insecure, and that stress was making me imagine things. Jessica's voice cracked slightly. "Am I imagining things?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Sarah could end Jessica's self-doubt right now. She could validate every instinct Jessica was having. She could save her best friend from months or years of being gaslit and lied to, or she could preserve Jessica's world for a little while longer. She could let Jessica's marriage exist in whatever form it was taking, complicated and dishonest as it might be. She could protect Jessica from the knowledge that would shatter everything. "I don't know," Sarah whispered. It was the most honest thing she'd said all evening, and the biggest lie at the same time. They ordered dessert and talked about other things. But Sarah barely tasted her tiramisu. Every laugh from Jessica felt like borrowed time. Every smile was evidence of innocence that Sarah was either protecting or betraying with each passing moment. Walking to their cars after dinner, Jessica hugged Sarah tighter than usual. "Thank you for listening," she said. "I don't know what I'd do without you. You are the only person I can really trust." The only person I can really trust. Sarah drove home in silence, those words echoing in her mind like an accusation. Number Fay Act 3. The consequence Fay. The decision came to Sarah at 3:17 a.m. on a Saturday, the way major life choices often do Fay in the dark alone. When defenses are down and truth demands attention, she'd been lying awake for 3 hours, replaying every conversation she'd had with Jessica over the past month. Every time Jessica had blamed herself for Mark's distance. Every time she'd wondered if she was being paranoid or overly sensitive. Every time she'd defended a marriage that was already broken. Sarah reached for her phone and typed, "Jess, are you awake? We need to talk." The response came faster than expected. "Can't sleep either. What is wrong? Can you meet me at Riverside Park, the bench by the lake?" Now it is 3 a.m. It can't wait. 40 minutes later, they sat side by side on the bench where they'd solved countless problems over the years. The park was empty except for an occasional jogger, and the lake reflected streetlights like scattered coins. "I saw him," Sarah said without preamble, "Thursday afternoon at Café Luna with someone." Jessica's hand stopped mid-motion as she reached for her coffee. The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken understanding. "Someone?" Jessica's voice was barely audible. "A woman, brunette. I'd never seen her before." Sarah's words came slowly, carefully. They were intimate, holding hands, kissing. It wasn't business, Jess. Jessica stared at the water for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was strange, flat and hollow. "How long were you going to wait to tell me?" The question Sarah had been dreading. "I didn't know how." 3 days. Jessica turned to look at her directly. "You sat across from me for 2 hours last night. Watched me blame myself for being suspicious, watched me defend him, and you said nothing." "I was trying to protect you." "From what? From the truth? From my own life?" Jessica stood up abruptly. "You let me sit there talking about how paranoid I was being while you knew I was right all along." "Jess, please. Do you have any idea what that feels like? To have your husband lie to you and your best friend lie to you at the same time? Sarah felt tears burning her eyes. I thought. You thought what? That if you didn't tell me, it wasn't real. That if you protected me from knowing, I'd be better off living a lie. I thought maybe it would end. Maybe it was just a mistake, and you'd never have to know. And I'd what? Stay married to a man who was cheating on me. Keep defending someone who was making me feel crazy. Jessica's voice rose slightly. I trusted you with everything, and you decided what I could and couldn't handle about my own life. The accusation hit its target. Sarah had made a choice for Jessica without Jessica's consent. She'd chosen temporary peace over long-term truth, comfort over autonomy. I am sorry, Sarah whispered. Jessica sat back down, but farther away this time. Are you sorry you didn't tell me sooner, or are you sorry you told me at all? It was a fair question, and Sarah didn't have a good answer. They sat in silence as dawn began to creep across the horizon. Two friends who had shared everything for 23 years, now separated by the space that secrets create. What are you going to do? Sarah finally asked. I don't know, Jessica said quietly. But I am going to figure it out myself this time. Number Fay Act 4. The reflection Fay 3 weeks later, Sarah hadn't heard from Jessica. No texts, no calls, no responses to the messages. Sarah had sent apologizing, explaining, begging for forgiveness. Sarah drove past Jessica's house twice, seeing Mark's car in the driveway both times. She didn't know if that meant they were working it out, or if Jessica simply hadn't made her decision yet. She didn't know if Emily knew anything, or if life was continuing normally for everyone except Sarah. She found herself questioning every choice she'd made. Should she have told Jessica immediately? Should she have confronted Mark first? Should she have minded her own business entirely? At her nephew's birthday party, Sarah watched her sister Lisa laugh with her husband over cake and candles, and wondered what secrets might be hiding behind any marriage that looked happy from the outside. Did Lisa know everything about her husband? Did any wife really know everything? Was ignorance sometimes kinder than truth? You've been quiet today, Lisa said, catching Sarah alone in the kitchen later. Just thinking about a friend. Want to talk about it? Sarah almost laughed. Talking about it was what had started this whole mess, or maybe staying quiet about it was what had started it. She honestly couldn't tell anymore. If you found out someone was cheating on their spouse, would you tell the spouse? Sarah asked. Lisa considered this seriously. Depends on the situation. How well do I know them? What kind of person is the cheater? Is the spouse better off knowing or not knowing? What if it was your best friend being cheated on? Then I'd probably tell them. Lisa paused. But I'd also probably lose the friendship either way. What do you mean? People don't usually thank the messenger, even when the message is true. Sometimes they blame you for ruining their life instead of blaming the person who was actually ruining their life. Sarah felt a chill of recognition. She'd been so focused on making the right choice that she hadn't considered the possibility that there wasn't one. That every option carried a cost, and the cost would be paid regardless of which path she chose. The next morning, Sarah's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Emily. Mom wanted me to tell you she is okay, but she needs space right now. They're getting divorced. She'll call you when she is ready. Sarah stared at the message for a long time. Jessica was okay. The marriage was over. Emily knew enough to be the messenger, which meant the truth was out in whatever form it had taken. But the space Jessica needed might be permanent. The friendship that had survived 23 years might not survive this moment of truth and delay. Sarah deleted the message and put her phone away. She'd made her choice, and now she was living with it. Whether it was the right choice or the wrong choice seemed less important now than the fact that she'd had to make it at all. Sometimes being a good friend means protecting someone from the truth. Sometimes it means accepting that you can't control the consequences of either decision. What Sarah couldn't figure out was which time this had been. Number Fay Epilogue, Fei 6 months later, Sarah received a wedding invitation in the mail. Jessica's name was on it, with a man Sarah didn't recognize. The ceremony was planned for the following spring. On the back of the invitation, in Jessica's familiar handwriting, was a single line. "Thank you for telling me the truth, even though it hurt, even though it was late, even though it cost us both something." Sarah held the invitation for a long time, thinking about timing and truth and the price of love in all its forms. She thought about the woman Mark had been with that day at the café and whether Jessica would ever forgive the delay. She thought about Emily growing up with divorced parents who had finally stopped lying to each other. Most of all, she thought about the impossible weight of knowing someone else's secrets, and the equally impossible weight of choosing when to share them. She RSVP'd yes to the wedding and hoped that Jessica would understand why she'd waited 3 days to speak and why speaking had been both the right thing and the wrong thing at the same time. Some choices define who we are, others we spend the rest of our lives wondering about. Faye, what would you have done? ****.